Republicans are Nazis. You cannot separate yourselves from the bad white people.
Growing up, I never thought much about race. It never really seemed to matter that much, at least not to me.
Am I racist?
I would really appreciate it if you left.
I'm trying to learn. I'm on this journey.
If I'm gonna sort this out, I need to go deeper undercover.
They gon' say I'm racist.
Joining us now is Matt, certified DEI expert.
Here's my certification. And what you're doing is you're stretching out of your whiteness. This is more for you in this field. Is America inherently racist?
The word inherent is challenging there.
I want to rename the George Washington Monument to the George Floyd Monument.
America is racist to its bones.
So inherently.
Yeah, this country is a piece of
White.
Folks,
White.
trash.
White supremacy.
White woman, white boy.
Is there a black person around? There's a black person right here. Does he not
They gon'
exist?
say I'm racist.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Matt.
Just had to ask who you are because you have to be careful.
Never be too careful.
They gon' say you racist.
Buy your tickets now. In theaters September 13th. Rated PG-13.
Today, the Matt Walsh Show, a Secret Service agent abandons her post to go breastfeed her baby. It's clear that the agency has not reformed itself or made any changes at all. Also, Kamala Harris engages in some casual anti-white racism. The media goes all the way back to high school to find dirt on JD Vance. The infamous Australian breakdancer Raygun has emerged from hiding to address all of the scrutiny she's received. And we have a sneak peek of my new movie, Am I Racist? Today, you'll see why the cops were called on me during filming. All that and more today on The Matt Walsh Show. When President Biden dropped his bid for re-election, he told us that one of his top priorities during his last few months in office would be to reform the Supreme Court. Well, now he's introduced us to his grand plan, a plan that will end life tenure for justices and impose a binding code of ethics on the Supreme Court. Don't be fooled. President Biden's court reform scheme is nothing more than a desperate attack to end the legitimacy of the Supreme Court. His proposals are both unconstitutional and a threat to our republic. The future of the Supreme Court depends on our response. That's why First Liberty, America's leading constitutional experts in protecting religious liberty, is asking you to join them and over 500,000 like-minded patriots in the fight against this brazen power grab. Join us in the fight to save the Supreme Court by adding your name in the support of the Statement of Judicial Independence. Say no to the Biden plan, no to court reform, and no to the Supreme Court coup. Go to supremecoup.com/Walsh to add your name and join the coalition to reject the Supreme Court coup. That's supremecoup.com/Walsh. It's been more than a month since a 20-year-old nearly assassinated Donald Trump while he was speaking at a rally live on national television. Now, I used to say that the gunman had somehow managed to evade the Secret Service, but actually he didn't even do that. He was spotted by the Secret Service numerous times, including by Secret Service counter-snipers who saw the gunman on top of a roof with clear line of sight to Donald Trump more than 20 minutes before he began shooting. The shooter was also photographed walking around the rally openly carrying an AR-15. This is a picture that was just obtained by Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, as you can see there. Short of carrying a sign saying, "I'm about to assassinate Donald Trump," it's not clear what the shooter could have done to attract more attention to himself. But the official line remains the same. Supposedly, the Secret Service didn't perceive the shooter as a threat until after he started firing. At this point, I'm kind of surprised that they got the hint even then. I'm surprised they didn't turn to each other after the shots rang out and say, "Hey, that guy over there seems to be firing a rifle. What do you think he's up to? What's that all about? Is he trying to communicate something? Is this Morse code, perhaps?" The Secret Service isn't that oblivious yet, I guess. And supposedly the agency is deeply embarrassed by all of this, and they're doing everything in their power to make sure it never happens again. The Trump security detail is supposedly on high alert, heads on swivels. All the protocols have been revised. Everyone's on their best behavior. So what does the Secret Service's best behavior look like? At Trump's rally in North Carolina on Wednesday, we got a pretty good idea. Watch.
The Secret Service detail that's guarding former President Donald Trump. So this coming from Real Clear Politics, reporting that a female Secret Service agent abandoned her post in North Carolina to breastfeed her baby during Trump's visit yesterday to the Tar Heel state. The report says about 5 minutes before Trump's motorcade arrived, the site agent who manages security for the entire event did a final sweep of the location.
And while walking the route, the site agent reportedly found the Secret Service special agent in question breastfeeding with 2 other family members present in a room that's supposed to be set aside for official business like an emergency involving the president. The report says the special agent did not have permission to leave her post and gave no warning prior to the event that she needed personal time. Working Secret Service agents are prohibited from bringing children or any family members, for that matter, on a protective assignment.
So according to Real Clear Politics correspondent Susan Crabtree, this agent was discovered breastfeeding her child instead of doing her job and securing the site where Donald Trump was about to speak. This was just minutes before Trump's motorcade arrived. She was in a room that was reserved for emergencies. And on top of that, the agent brought 2 of her family members to the secure area and allowed them to bypass the security checkpoint. The family members were escorted by an event staffer who also wasn't cleared by the Secret Service to be in the secure area. So this was like bring your child to work day for the Secret Service, apparently, or at least she thought. Now, when I first heard this, I didn't think it could possibly be an accurate report. This story would have been unthinkable even before the assassination attempt in Butler. But it's even harder to believe afterwards. This agency is apparently so thoroughly corrupt and incompetent that they couldn't even pull it together and pretend to be doing their jobs, even when there's a massive and unprecedented amount of scrutiny on them. But it does appear to be an accurate story. In fact, it is accurate. The Secret Service just put out a statement that basically confirmed it. Quote, "While there was no impact to the North Carolina event, the specifics of this incident are being examined. Given this is a personnel matter, we are not in a position to comment further." Now, a good rule of thumb here is that whenever an organization won't comment on an alleged incident, it means the incident happened. They'd be able to comment if it didn't happen. There are no confidentiality rules preventing anyone from saying that a thing didn't happen if it didn't happen. So, in other words, yes, the agent left her post to breastfeed and allowed multiple people to bypass a security checkpoint at a Trump rally a month after he was shot and nearly killed. They won't deny it because it's true. And no, you're not allowed to know anything else. You'll never know the identity of this agent or whether she was fired or disciplined at all. Even though the Secret Service works for the taxpayers, and even though they're clearly terrible at their jobs, they don't have to answer any of your questions. So just shut up and leave them alone. In fact, they won't even really express any concern about what happened. There was no impact to the North Carolina event, they say, as if that's supposed to be remotely reassuring. They don't add a line about how tremendously embarrassed they are about this story, how they're going to take steps to make sure that no more agents leave their post to breastfeed their children while allowing family members to bypass security ever again. They don't mention any of that. They might as well say, hey, this time our massive security lapse didn't allow a 20-year-old to shoot Donald Trump in the head, so what's the big deal? Geez, you people are never happy, always nitpicking. What that statement conveys is that Secret Service agents routinely violate policy, I guess, and the agency isn't especially ashamed about it. There's been a lot of reporting to that effect as well in the past few weeks. For example, the Secret Service site agent in charge of the security plan for the Butler rally apparently still has not been fired. In fact, the Secret Service director testified that she's still actively involved in planning the security of various events. That's despite reporting from Susan Crabtree indicating that this particular site agent, whose identity remains concealed, obviously doesn't take her job seriously. She has openly violated policy numerous times. Quoting from RCP, quote, "Over the last 2 weeks, the Secret Service Inspections Department, which investigates employee misconduct, is homing in on allegations against an agent on the Trump detail who played a key role during the Butler rally and is partially responsible for developing the security plan, which contained egregious mistakes that left an opening for shooter Thomas Crooks. The agent is now under the microscope, not only for her role in devising the security plan for the rally, she's also facing internal scrutiny for posting videos and photos from her protective assignments to social media." One of those posts, apparently taken from inside Mar-a-Lago, read, quote, "A sunset to be grateful for." The message also included a heart and a sunset emoji, and the hashtags "No Filter, South Florida, Thankful," and "Work Mode." Yes, it's a Secret Service agent on the job posting Instagram with hashtag work mode. So instead of looking for assassins who might be trying to kill Donald Trump, she's taking pictures to impress her followers on Instagram. Now, sure, she might have let a killer sneak by her, but at least she's got great Instagram content. And that's just one of several recent protocol violations by the Secret Service at Mar-a-Lago. Crabtree also reports that there was an incident in which a member of Trump's detail, quote, took cell phone photos of two members of the support staff sleeping in a command post while guarding Mar-a-Lago and circulated those to others on the detail. There was also an incident in which a random guy off the street was able to sneak into the Miami Secret Service field office and post up for a few days. Quote, some agents working out in the gym violated office policy by propping open the door to help ventilate the room. A man in shorts and a t-shirt entered through that partially open door and no one noticed. The man apparently found the bunk room, took a shower, and fell asleep in a bed overnight. He accessed computers on an open internet line and downloaded and watched porn. The next morning, he asked administration staff where he could get a cup of coffee around here. And the employees responded by fulfilling his request for coffee without realizing he didn't belong there. He then ventured into a class on defensive tactics that a supervisor was teaching. The supervisor confronted him about his identity and apprehended him. Now, from these stories and many others like them, it's clear the Secret Service is, not exactly fixing the problem. This is just too pervasive a problem to fix without completely reworking the entire agency. They can't protect presidents. They can't even protect their own field offices from random hobos who just wander in and stay there for days. So they need a complete overhaul at a minimum. And until that happens, the Secret Service will continue to be strengthened by diversity, I guess, until a president is actually killed. And at which point, they'll still probably blame it on a lack of diversity and commit to getting even more lactating women into the ranks. That would obviously lead to disaster, and not just for the hapless VIPs that these agents would be assigned to protect. It would also be a disaster for the women who are hired. No one seems to be pointing this out, but what happened in North Carolina underscores the absurdity of having women in positions like this. It's not just that she was breastfeeding on the job. Like, that's outrageous, obviously, for a million reasons that probably don't need to be explained. But I'll go a step further. Even if that agent had waited to breastfeed until she got home, it would still be not only ludicrous, but morally insane for her to be in a position like this. She is a mom of a very young child, right? That's the main problem with her breastfeeding on the job. It's not even that she's breastfeeding on the job, it's that she has a baby. Like, her job requires her to potentially throw herself in front of a bullet to protect whatever government official she's assigned to. She has to be willing to die as part of her job description. Well, what happens to her baby in that case? Functional societies do not ask or even allow mothers to stand on the front lines and take bullets for their country. Like, that's what men are for. Everybody in the country, myself included, was very critical of that female agent who infamously was seemingly hiding behind the pile of bodies after Trump was shot. We all remember that picture. And it was a disgraceful sight. And then later on, she couldn't get her gun in the holster, the whole thing, right? Very disgraceful, very embarrassing. But here's the thing. It would be just as disgraceful for different reasons if that woman had been in front of the pile. Because that's not where you're supposed to put women in a society. You don't put them in the front lines to take the bullets. And until we can agree on that very basic point, which every civilization before us could agree on, then we don't have a chance of fixing this country, much less the Secret Service. Now let's get to our 5 headlines. There's only one cell phone company that gives you free premium access to the media that you actually care about, and that is Pure Talk. This might be the best offer Pure Talk has ever come out with. Listen to this. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk on a qualifying plan, you'll get a free 1-year insider subscription to Daily Wire Plus. That's right. Take advantage of unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data, and mobile hotspot on America's most dependable 5G network for just $35 a month. And you'll get 1 year free of Daily Wire Plus. Daily Wire Plus Insider Plan gets you access to our entire library of movies, series, and documentaries, including Lady Ballers, What is a Woman, Mr. Bircham, Run, Hide, Fight, and more. Plus, you'll get all of our daily shows uncensored and ad-free. But the only way you can get this special offer is by going to puretalk.com/Walsh. I've been telling you to stop overpaying for your cell phone company, your cell phone plan for a long time. If you haven't made the switch over to Pure Talk yet, now's the time. Go to puretalk.com/Walsh today. Switch to a qualifying plan and get 1 year free of Daily Wire Plus Insider. All right, tickets for my new film, Am I Racist, went on sale yesterday at amiracist.com. We've also released a clip from the movie that shows how and why I first donned the man bun costume and kind of the origin story. And I'm going to play that clip for you now, but let me give you a little bit of setup first. Am I Racist is our exploration of the anti-racism and DEI scam. It is our journey into the dark heart of the race hustle grift. And every journey has to start somewhere, and we decided that ours should start at a support group where white people gather around, like in a circle, very much like AA style, to discuss their feelings. And so what you'll see in the clip is a white grief support group. These are white people who are getting together to talk about their whiteness and their struggles with whiteness and the grief they feel for having so much privilege. The group is led by, someone who's supposed to be a DEI expert who does this sort of thing for a living. And what you'll see in this clip is the end of the workshop, or at least the end of my time at the workshop. I walked into the session without a costume. I made no attempt to disguise my identity, aside from giving a fake name, but everything else was the same. And you'll see in the movie how, in the movie, but not in the clip, you'll see how the session starts and how, as time goes on, because I'm there and I'm open to learning. I'm very open, and I'm a very open and I'm a very emotionally vulnerable person, as you know, if you've been following my work for so long. So as you'll see in the movie, as the time goes on in this session, I get very emotional, and I really start to get in touch with something deep inside myself, confronting my own whiteness. And it's so difficult that at a certain point, I have to get up and leave to go to the cry room. And there is a cry room, because one thing you should know is that at this workshop, there's a rule that white people are not allowed to cry openly. There can be no white tears. In fact, we discovered this is a common theme in the world of race hustlers. White tears are a major problem in their world. So this is not the only place we visit in the film where they specify a rule at the outset that if you're white and you start crying, you have to leave the room. And anyway, I started to get emotional. I had to leave to the designated cry room to shed my white tears with great dignity in privacy. And the trouble is that when I returned, the other members of the group had put two and two together and had realized who I was. My time in the cry room gave them a chance, I guess, to talk to each other and get on the same page. And so when I came back, really at my most emotionally vulnerable point, they had no mercy on me, and they were quite unwelcoming when I returned, and that's where this clip picks up. Let's watch it.
The white participants in the group feel that there's something in themselves that they have to overcome, when all that's being requested of you is that you be. Hello.
Hi.
How are you? How are
Sorry
you?
about that.
Oh, no problem. You good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remind me of your name again.
Steven.
Steven? Yeah? Okay. Did you want to come up?
Come up?
Yeah, do you want to come up and share anything?
Sure. What do you want me to share?
Whatever's on your
I
mind.
just want to know that, like, my physical safety and yours and everybody else's here is okay.
Why would your physical safety not be okay? Did I miss something?
I don't feel comfortable.
What? Can you guys catch me up to speed on what's going on here?
You don't need to be caught up. We're going to be silent.
Is it because I said I had 17 black friends? It might have been 15. It depends on how you count them.
I would really appreciate it if you left so that the people who actually want to be here and deserve to be here can get what they need.
I do want to be
Can
here.
you please leave?
I would like it if you left.
I'm trying to learn. I'm on this journey.
Come with me.
Well,
Thank you.
I didn't consent to be touched.
I'm not offering to touch you. I'm offering to walk you out. Will you walk with me and I'll answer your questions?
Okay, I'll admit it. My name's not Steven. Maybe you already knew that. My name is Matt Walsh.
We know.
I was here on this journey that I'm just starting, but I see that I'm not wanted.
If you were on your journey, then you would have told us who you were, your real name, but you didn't.
Are you saying I
Please
needed a
leave.
better disguise? Is that what you?
I don't know, maybe, but you can figure that out as you walk out the door.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you so much. I really had a transformative experience myself. And my pronouns are he, him.
I did everything I could to fit in. I opened up. I was raw and emotional. I told them about my black friends. It was no use. They rejected me, and they called the police. My mere presence in the room caused them pain. I'll never be accepted if I look like this. If they know that I'm Matt Walsh, I'll always be an outsider. I need to go deeper undercover, a whole new identity. If I want to be an ally, I need to look like one. Like someone who is progressive, tolerant, enlightened. Let me think. Have I ever met anyone like that? Ah, yes. Yes, I have.
What is a woman?
Why do you ask that question?
Racist. Rated PG-13. Buy tickets now.
So, yeah, they did actually call the police. That did happen. In fact, I want to emphasize that all of that really, it's all real. And the movie, all these things are real. Some people have seen the clip and question whether it's real. There's a conspiracy theories floating around that these must be actors or something. I assure you, they are not actors. In fact, the woman leading the group, if you wanted to be a part of your own group, you can get in touch with her and, I don't know, they might have different security procedures in place now, but it's a real thing. Robin DiAngelo also appears in the film, as you saw from the trailer. Hopefully it goes without saying that, she was not in on the joke. How did we get into these rooms with these people? How do we get these people to talk to us? Well, that's a secret recipe that maybe in due time I'll reveal. All I will say is that this movie took well over a year to film, and there's a reason for that. There was a lot that had to happen behind the scenes. We had a very small team on this movie, but a very good team, and they all did their jobs perfectly to be able to get us into situations just like that. And the last thing I'll say is that again, what you see there is just the very end of that workshop scene, and if that little, 2.5 minutes of me in the workshop seemed really uncomfortable and painfully awkward, just wait till you see the first part. It's great, if I do say so myself. All right, major meltdown on CNN when Nancy Mace came to visit. Congresswoman Nancy Mace, and found herself seated next to race baiter extraordinaire Michael Eric Dyson. And they got into a little bit of a spat over Kamala Harris and Michael Eric Dyson's view that you really can't criticize Kamala Harris without being racist. If you're criticizing her and you're a white person, it's because you're racist. Shocking. It's a shocking point of view for this guy to have. Who could have possibly seen that coming? And this is the kind of guy you bring him on cable news channels to call things racist. That is what he's there for. He's the calling things racist expert, and he sticks to the script. You got to give him that. He's very consistent, and that's what happened here. Let's check it out.
Michael.
That sounds like self-hatred and justification of white supremacy. And let me just say this, because this Congresswoman is a wonderful human being, but when you disrespect Kamala Harris by saying you will call her whatever you want, I know you don't intend it to be that way. That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of black people.
Oh, so now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said you weren't a racist.
That is complete.
No, you don't have to intend racism to accomplish
You are
it.
intending that I am
Your disrespect
racist,
of Kamala
and
Harris
that is
part and parcel of a tradition.
Hang on.
You disrespect.
Why
It's
can't you just,
offensive,
Congresswoman?
and it's,
Why can't you
it's
just?
offensive.
Why
That
can't
is
I'm not calling you a
disgusting.
racist.
No,
I'm
you
saying
are.
what the
You
practice
are.
is
You
racist.
are. You
Why can't
absolutely
you
are.
just
the
hear what
That
I'm
is
saying?
let me
Disrespecting. No, what's disgusting
That
is your
disgusting.
disrespect of her.
Professor.
This gentleman said,
you know what?
I didn't know her name.
Disgusting
He's
to
trying
women
to do
is
it.
her disrespect of women. She doesn't know what a woman is. And if 25 years ago,
White women don't have the ability to tell black women who paid the price of blood to make this country what it is to tell them they're not real women.
25
They
years
care
ago,
for your babies
25
and
years ago,
respected
I
your
became the
humanity.
first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina. I
So call
fought
her
my
name
way
right.
through it.
So pronounce her name
blood,
right.
sweat,
Let
and
me
tears.
actually So pronounce her name
and
right.
Kamala Harris, if
Kamala,
I were
Kamala. You said
I
this
will
before.
say
You Nancy
anything that I
Nancy.
want.
It's
Come on,
Kamala.
it's
You're
Kamala.
doing this on purpose,
I am
Congresswoman.
not.
That's disrespectful.
You can't expect people to
If
respect
a
your
man
service
put on
if
a
you don't
skirt
respect
and walked
hers.
that stage 25 years ago, she
You're a
would have
white
said
woman
she would have
disrespecting a
taken
black
that
woman. That is
achievement away from
problematic.
women.
Professor
That's
Dyson,
disgusting.
let me get in
here
That's-
Just watching the news. There's the news for you. Wonderfully embarrassing for everybody involved. I do include Nancy Mace in that. I didn't love her performance here at all. And I'll explain why, but it starts with Dyson, who declares that you can't criticize Kamala Harris. And if you do, then you are participating in the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of black people. He says that criticism of her is disrespectful, which, by the way, even if Nancy Mace or whoever else is disrespectful to Kamala Harris, well, first of all, Kamala has earned that disrespect. She is owed disrespect. As far as I'm concerned, ever since she was Attorney General in California and refused to prosecute Planned Parenthood for selling the body parts of dead children, and then turned around and went after the journalists who exposed that crime, ever since then, she earned whatever disrespect you want to throw at her. And well before that, too. But that alone is enough to justify calling her an evil scumbag, and I don't have respect for evil scumbags. But there is so much else as well. I believe in general in life that if you want to be respected, you have to earn it. That is doubly true of politicians. Right? Our default mode should not be to lend them respect. In my view, they have to earn that. But whether it's fair or unfair to be disrespectful to Kamala Harris, it doesn't make it racist to be disrespectful towards her. Kamala is not the embodiment of her race, right? Her half black, half Indian race. She's not like the incarnation of it. It's not like if you insult Kamala Harris, you've insulted all half black, half Indians everywhere. Kamala is an individual person, and it's possible to feel a certain way about her as an individual person while not feeling that way about other individual people of the same race, obviously. And then we get the stuff at the end about mispronouncing her name. The other people at the table, you're doing it on purpose. Stop, Mom, she's doing it on purpose. Mom, tell Nancy to stop. Like, they sound like my kids. It's pathetic. But then almost as pathetic, sadly, is Nancy Mace, who handles this exactly the wrong way from start to finish. First, she indignantly defends herself against the racism charge. How dare you? That's offensive. I am offended that you would say that. How offensive of you to say that. That's the wrong approach. That's always going to be the wrong approach. When some race baiter throws some absurd racism charge at you, you don't start desperately denying it. You don't claim that you're offended. You laugh at it. You dismiss it. You make it clear that that label has no power over you. Their labeling of you has no power over you. That's what you have to make clear. But when you say, I'm offended, that's disgusting, this is disgraceful, how could you say this about me? Then you have given them power over you. And then Mace pivots to accusing Kamala of sexism. And I appreciate that she tries to bring the trans stuff in. I think, well, everyone knows I'm a fan of the what is a woman move. But here it's so irrelevant to the point. It just comes off as very off topic and really pretty desperate. And she does it in the context of saying, well, I'm not racist, but Kamala is sexist. So you're still arguing on the left's terms. You're still playing on their playing field. They call you a racist, so you call them a sexist. It's weak. It's weak. It doesn't work. So I'll tell you what I would have liked for Nancy to say to Dyson. There are kind of two approaches. One is to say, oh, you think I'm racist? Yeah, you're a racist. Okay, well, I don't care that you think that about me. Do you have anything to say that I do care about? Because I don't care about that. Oh, so you're admitting that you're racist? I don't care whether you think that or not. I'm not interested in convincing you otherwise. I just don't care. It doesn't matter to me whether you think that or if you don't. So that's one way to approach it. Now, if you want to go the other way and you want to kind of go on the offensive and try to throw a charge back at them, well, you could do that. Because what you could say is, hey, Eric, have you ever accused a black guy of racism for criticizing a white person? Ever in your life? Ever? No? Okay, so white people aren't allowed to criticize black people, but black people can criticize white people all day long? Is that what you're saying? Because that's actually racist. No, you, Eric, are an anti-white bigot. That's what you are. So your opinion is discarded. I would have liked to see something like that. Either one of those approaches would work. But this, well, I never. How could you? Me, a racist? Impossible. I'm Nancy Mace. I'm the least racist person on the planet. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. Speaking of anti-white bigots, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz put out a very weird video yesterday. They sat down and I guess pretended to have dinner together or something. And I don't know what the point of the video was, but I guess the point was to show us that, oh, they're real people, just like you and me. Oh, look, they're eating a meal. I eat meals. They're just like me. I should vote for them. This is the quality I'm looking for in a leader. I want to know that this is someone who eats food. But so maybe that was the point. I don't know. But here's the video that Tim Walz posted to his social media accounts. Let's watch.
Like I have white guy tacos and
what is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Oh.
Here's the deal. No, they said to be careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm trying to expand my food knowledge.
You know, we've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so now most people seem to be focused on the fact that this is so awkward and fake and lame, but everyone's skipping over the more important point, which is that a presidential candidate just casually dropped anti-white racism in the middle of what was supposed to be a lighthearted video. You know, Tim Walz says that he makes white guy tacos, and Kamala says, what is that, mayonnaise and tuna? Like, that is anti-white racism. That's what that is. And if you don't believe that, right, if you think that I'm overstating the case, all right, well, just imagine it the other way. Imagine a black guy says to Donald Trump, I make black guy tacos. And Donald Trump says, oh, what is that, like fried chicken and watermelon? Maybe sprinkle some Kool-Aid powder over top? Am I right? How do you think everybody would react to that? What do you think the reaction would be? Nuclear meltdown, literally. I mean, they would probably shoot a nuclear missile at Donald Trump for that. They would execute him via nuclear attack if he were to say something like that. I mean, the outrage would be so immense, we would never hear the end of it. The date of this black guy taco comment would be remembered by the media forever and memorialized. Like, for years after, they would solemnly refer to 8/16, right? We'd have January 6th. Do you remember 8/16? I remember where I was on 8/16. The day of the fried chicken and watermelon taco joke. They would be weeping in the street. They would build statues and memorials to the lives lost because of the taco joke. KFC and Kool-Aid companies would come out and denounce Trump over this. So would every watermelon distributor in the country. And we all know that. This is another one of those things where, like, there are people that are going to clip this. They're going to take this clip of me saying that the comment from Kamala Harris was anti-white racism, and they're going to try to present it as though it's just like on its face absurd. And yet even they know that what I'm saying is 1,000% true, because you damn well know that that comment the other way, it wouldn't even be a discussion about whether it's racist. It would be considered the most racist thing a president has ever done, including the presidents who own slaves. And that's in spite of the fact that the watermelon fried chicken trope for black people is actually significantly less racist than what Kamala said. Because black people have a reputation for liking fried chicken and watermelon because that's something that actually does come out of black culture. Black comedians make jokes about that kind of stuff all the time. That sort of joke comes from a place of recognition and affection, really. Like, it's not offensive. There's nothing offensive. Fried chicken's great. Who doesn't like fried chicken? It's on the level of, like, making a joke about how Asian people are good at math. It's like, yeah, it's stereotypical. They're not all good at math, but it's not bad to be good at math. It does come from a place of, like, a lot of them are good at math. And that is also, that's the kind of thing you listen to an Asian comedian. They'll make those kinds of jokes. On the other hand, the mayonnaise thing for white people it's purely spiteful and hateful. There's not any kind of affection in it. There's not any kind of recognition. It's not something that actually comes from white people or white culture. White people don't actually have any special affinity for mayonnaise. There's not any, like, it doesn't come from, you talk to white people, they're like, you know what, I love mayonnaise. Doesn't happen. It's not a thing. The mayonnaise trope, it comes from, like, the most spiteful corners of black Twitter. That's where you'll find those kinds of jokes. They'll refer to white people as the mayonnaise people, that kind of thing. I mean, it's a dumb insult. It's really stupid, but it's quite, like, spiteful. It's just like a hateful, we hate you and don't like you kind of joke. So it is an insult that some black people came up with to make fun of white people. It's not good-natured or friendly or grounded in any kind of affection or recognition at all. So what Kamala said is worse. Like, it's significantly worse, and yet it barely raises an eyebrow. It does, yeah, whatever. And the double standard on these things is so pronounced and so obvious and so in our face and so pervasive that even a lot of conservatives get tired of pointing it out. And I get that. I understand why you get tired of pointing it out, but what's the other option? To just let it go? I can't let it go. I'm not going to let it slide. Like, someone has to point it out. The other option is to just allow it and be okay with it and pretend that it's not happening when we all know that it is. And that's not an option that I find especially, it's not something that I want. I don't find that preferable, that option. So, for what it's worth, I have to point out that's anti-white racism from Kamala Harris. It just is. We all know it. Everyone knows it. Go ahead and deny it. Doesn't matter. You're a freaking liar if you deny it. Okay. Daily Wire has this report. A report from CNN acknowledges that Kamala Harris's VP pick, Governor Tim Walz, repeatedly lied about his 1995 drunk driving arrest during his run for Congress. Walz was pulled over by a Nebraska trooper for going 96 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour speed zone on September 23rd, 1995. After the officer smelled breath on Walz's alcohol, Walz took a field sobriety test and a blood alcohol test and failed both. Walz spent the night behind bars and later admitted that he was driving drunk. Court records show. And then he's gone on to lie about it since then. Well, here's the thing. I would say this kind of thing is irrelevant. I would say that I don't really care about a Tim Walz DUI 30 years ago. I care more that he's lying about it, but in general, I don't care that he got a DUI. Like, okay, it was 30 years ago, whatever. I would say that if not for the fact that the Kamala campaign and their lackeys in the media are digging up every single obscure thing they possibly can from JD Vance's past. So as much as I would say, okay, 30 years ago, DUI, whatever, I can't say that because on the other side, there's like nothing that JD Vance has ever done or said in his life at any point that to them is irrelevant. And we've seen many examples of that. You know, there was the whole news cycle this week attacking Vance for wearing drag as a joke at a Halloween party in college. Lots of other similar stories, including stories that they're just completely making up. Well, now it's gotten even more desperate because now we're going back to high school. Here's a Daily Beast. JD Vance, no fan of gender-neutral bathrooms, was photographed in his high school yearbook next to 3 girls posing in front of urinals in a bathroom during his senior year. Let's put the photo up on the screen. There's the photo that they've unearthed. In fact, the Daily Mail unearthed it. Shows an 18-year-old JD Hamill, as he was known at the time, standing next to the 3 girls who were facing the urinals. The picture was captured in the 2003 Middletown High School yearbook. One of the 3 girls pictured in the photo spoke to the Daily Mail, telling the tabloid the photo was intended to illustrate the authority of the girls in the student government, of which Vance was the vice president at the time. We thought it would be funny, she said. Usually it was all male officers, and we were an even split. And so it was sort of the opposite. The 3 other girls in the picture were the president, treasurer, and secretary, according to the outlet. A spokesperson for Vance said Kamala Harris created inflation that's crushing American families, caused a historic crisis at our southern border, allowed deadly fentanyl to flood into communities across our country, and this is what the media is worried about. A goofy high school yearbook from 20 years ago. Get a life. Well said. The Ohio senator, Daily Beast continues, previously questioned ambassadorial appointees about whether they would increase gender-neutral restrooms and locker rooms in overseas facilities. The memo was part of Vance's crusade against woke appointments to the State Department. So, this is what it's come to. They're now going back to high school to make the argument that Vance is a hypocrite for being opposed to men invading women's rooms because of a goofy, joking picture he took in high school. A picture that, by the way, the whole point of the joke, the whole thing that made it funny is that the girls don't belong in the boys' room. That's the point. So to look at that picture, aside from the fact that it's high school, so it's like, yes, get a life, you loser. But if you look at that picture and you say, well, I thought Vance said that women don't belong in the boys' room and men don't belong in the women's room. Yes, that's the point. They don't belong there. That's why it's funny. It's ridiculous. That's the point, you morons. But that doesn't even matter because it's high school. Okay? You could show me a picture of Vance wearing a trans flag in high school and shouting trans rights are human rights. And I would not care because I would say, oh, he was a dumb, confused kid in high school who now knows better because he's an adult. Okay. Well, look what JD Vance said when he was 18. I don't care what he said or did, unless he killed someone. Okay, like if he killed someone, then we have something to talk about. But pretty much anything below that in high school, so? And what exactly is the claim here? So let's pretend that Vance really did have some kind of stance in high school that girls should be allowed in the boys' room. Let's pretend that that's what that photo signifies, that he was making a political stance, that there should be more of this happening. Let's pretend that. Let's just go with that. Does that mean he can't change his opinion from high school? Are we locked into whatever views and values we had as freaking 15-year-olds? Or 16, 18? What? Like, is that the idea? Talk about telling on yourself. Like anyone who would use this against Vance. So what you're saying? So I guess anyone. So if you're saying, yeah, well, yeah, if that's what you said when you were a kid in high school, you're a hypocrite for saying something else 20 years later. So again, what you're telling us then is that you have not grown at all since high school. That you still think all the same things you did in high school. You haven't changed at all. So you are just confessing to being an overgrown baby, basically, is what you are telling us about yourself. Any real adult looks at that and says, yeah, okay, high school. I mean, So, what is the point of this? Well, I think what people have to understand is that the point isn't, they know that this kind of thing isn't going to land. So when you see this and you think, well, like, this is not going to do, nobody cares what Vance was doing in high school. We all screwed around in high school and did dumb stuff, you know, who cares? And you're right, but the left doesn't need this specific attack to amount to anything. Right? The pictures of JD Vance and dressed in drag as a joke and a college party, Halloween party. Again, like, that doesn't land. Nobody cares about that. But they don't need that to land specifically. All they're doing, they're trying to drown JD Vance in these attacks. So it is a quantity over quality thing. And they don't really want you to look specifically at any one thing. They don't really care about that. It's just what they want is to give you in the public the general impression that there's always a new thing coming out about JD Vance. Oh, what is it now? There's always something new, right? This guy's so much dirt, so many skeletons in his closet that 5 times a week there's another thing coming out. Now, you don't need to know what those things are. In fact, they prefer if you don't. The only thing they want you to think is, yeah, there's always things coming out about this guy. What things? I don't know. Just there are always things. So that is pretty clearly the plan here, which shows you that JD Vance, in reality, like, they got nothing on him. I mean, if there was something serious, like a real scandal, if there were some real skeletons in this guy's closet, they wouldn't be wasting time on a high school yearbook photo. Because then all you're doing is you're distracting from the real scandal. So instead, they present the real scandal and say, let's talk about this. Let's not distract with high school yearbook photo and Halloween party in college. Like, that's not, if you have a real scandal, you don't do that. But they don't. They got nothing. I mean, they've poured through this guy's life. They've found absolutely nothing. And so instead, they've just taken a whole bunch of nothings and they're going to drip it out, so that they hope that over time, you just kind of, it just creates a very general, very vague impression in your mind that there's something, you know, weird about this guy. And if you're asked to explain what that is, you won't be able to explain it because it's based in nothing. But that's the point. Are you still struggling with back taxes or unfiled returns? The IRS is escalating collections by adding 20,000 new agents and sending millions of demand letters. Handling this alone can be a huge mistake and cost you thousands of dollars. In these challenging times, your best offense is with Tax Network USA. With over 14 years of experience, the experts at Tax Network USA have saved millions in back taxes for their clients. Regardless of the size of your tax issue, their expertise is your advantage. Tax Network USA offers 3 key services: protection, compliance, and settlement. Upon signing up, Tax Network USA will immediately contact the IRS to secure a protection order, ensuring that aggressive collection activities such as garnishments, levies, or property seizures are halted. If you haven't filed in a while, need amended returns, or are missing records, Tax Network USA's expert tax preparers will update all of your filings to eliminate the risk of IRS enforcement. Then they'll create a settlement strategy to reduce or eliminate your tax debt. The IRS is the largest collection agency in the world. And now that tax season is over, collection season has begun. Tax Network USA can even help with state tax issues. For a complimentary consultation, call today at 1-800-958-1000 or visit their website at tnusa.com/Walsh. That's 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Walsh today. Don't let the IRS take advantage of you. Get the help you need with Tax Network USA. Listen up, pre-sale tickets for Am I Racist are available right now at miracist.com. Go there, select your favorite theater, and buy your tickets. Am I Racist is from the white guys who brought you the hit movie, What is a Woman? I went undercover as a certified DEI expert. Let me tell you, it's even more ridiculous than you think. You'll be floored by how far these race hustlers go and how far I go to expose their grift. And here's the thing, we need you to buy those pre-sale tickets now. The more we sell, the more theaters that will show it. Pretty simple formula. Am I Racist in theaters September 13th. Get pre-sale tickets at miracist.com right now. Now let's get to our daily cancellation. To start the week, we discussed the remarkable story of breakdancing legend Rachel Gunn, otherwise known as Raygun, otherwise known as Dr. Raygun. As you recall, Dr. Raygun is the Australian PhD and university lecturer who somehow made it to the Olympics as a breakdancer Her performance at the Olympics was so terrible that it made her easily the most famous breakdancer in the world. In fact, she's the only famous breakdancer in the world. Now, just to refresh all of our memories, let's watch a few moments of Dr. Raygun's performance once again. There it is. Truly an inspiring display. It proves that anyone can make it to the Olympics. Literally anyone at all. Anyway, we started the week with this story, so it's fitting and symmetrical, I think, that we end with it. After enduring mockery from the whole world, and probably other planets too, if they're able to pick up our TV signals, Dr. Raygun has come out and issued a statement now. Now, you might think that she'd be perhaps a bit contrite and humbled. Maybe she'd admit that performing in the Olympics was not the right decision. She wasn't ready for that stage or any stage. And so she's decided to retire from being a really bad breakdancer and focus instead on being a really bad college professor. That's one approach that she might have taken. Another approach, and the one that I probably would have tried if I was her, is to claim that it was all a joke. This was just some Andy Kaufman-esque performance art. She was trolling the world with her breakdancing. Now, I'm not sure how believable that would be, but I, for one, would want to believe it. Like, I would have bought that because I'd want to believe it. That's the kind of thing that I would do if I somehow was given the chance to be in the Olympics. I mean, to troll on the Olympic level is a dream of mine. That is my ultimate dream. And she could have said that that was her intent and you know, maybe gotten away with it, but she didn't say that either. Instead, she did the only thing that a liberal woman would ever think to do in this kind of situation or in any other situation. She made herself the victim.
Hi everyone, Raygun here. I just want to start by thanking all the people who have supported me. I really appreciate the positivity and I'm glad I was able to bring some joy into your lives. That's what I hoped. I didn't realize that that would also open the door to so much hate, which has frankly been pretty devastating. Well, I went out there and I had fun. I did take it very seriously. I worked my butt off preparing for the Olympics and I gave my all, truly. I'm honoured to have been a part of the Australian Olympic team and to be part of Breaking's Olympic debut. What the other athletes have achieved has just been phenomenal. I'm going to be in Europe for a few weeks for some pre-planned downtime, but I'd really like to ask the press to please stop harassing my family, my friends, the Australian breaking community and the broader street dance community. Everyone has been through a lot as a result of this, so I ask you to please respect their privacy. I'll be happy to answer more questions on my return to Australia. Thanks, everyone.
So out of all the approaches she could have taken, she chose the worst one. First of all, she says that she worked her butt off and tried really hard and took it very seriously. Listen, Dr. Raygun, don't you understand? That just makes it so much worse. You mean to tell us that was you trying? Trying to do what exactly? Like, this is like if I go to an Italian restaurant and they serve me undercooked spaghetti and lukewarm tomato sauce out of a can, and I complain, and the cook comes out of the kitchen in tears, promising he tried his hardest and took it really seriously. Well, now I'm still mad about the terrible food, but I'm also sad. So all you've done is added a dose of sadness into the mix. It has not improved anything. I'd rather that Dr. Raygun confess that she wasn't trying at all and didn't practice. Like, she should have said, hey guys, yeah, wow, that sucked. Like, honestly, I didn't practice at all. I totally forgot I had the Olympics until the night before. I was going to practice, but then I got drunk instead. Totally hungover during that performance. I mean, really, I should get a gold medal for spinning on my head when I had a migraine. I would have respected her so much more if she had said that. Instead, she demands an A for effort, which just isn't how it works in the Olympics or anywhere else in life, frankly. Nobody cares how hard you worked. All that matters is the final product. That's it. It's one of the most important life lessons and one that Dr. Raygun has yet to learn. But I think the big takeaway from this story is something else. Yes, it shows how the Olympics are increasingly becoming a joke. Yes, the fact that this woman is a university professor and had a PhD is yet more evidence that the university system is and has been for a long time an enormous joke. But those are kind of secondary points. The most important point is this. She thought she was good at this. She really thought she was good. It's clear that Dr. Raygun is shocked by all the criticism. She never imagined that anyone would do anything but applaud. She is blindsided. She thought that we would see her flopping around on stage like some sort of large catfish and be stunned by her beauty and prowess. She thought we would clap and wipe tears away and say, that's the most beautiful flopping catfish I've ever seen. She was truly and absolutely confident in her abilities. That's what we've learned here. And how could that be? How could she have thought that was good? Well, because nobody in her life ever told her that she sucks at this. She's been breakdancing for years. I think we heard in an interview that since like 2007 or something like that. And nobody, not her husband, not her parents, not her friends, nobody in the breakdancing community, I guess, nobody pulled her aside and said, listen, Rage, you are really bad at this. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. You're committing a genocide of my eyeballs every time you force me to watch this. You need to stop, Rachel. You gotta stop. Nobody ever said that to her. I mean, I blame her husband. It's kind of like Jill Biden. I blame so much for the fact that her husband is falling apart in front of the world as president, and it's the same thing. I blame the husband here in a big way, because even if he didn't, I mean, I have to imagine at some point the wife would have said to the husband, "Hey, let me show you my Olympic routine. Like before I perform the Olympics, you want to see my routine?" And the husband would have said, "Yeah, show it to me." And then she's doing all of that and hopping like a kangaroo and he's just sitting there like, oh my God, oh dear God, oh no, oh no. But he didn't say it, he didn't tell her that. And this is a major problem in our society. False confidence is endemic. There are millions of people running around thinking that they're good at things that they aren't good at, which means that they'll never discover what they are good at. This unearned, misplaced, delusional confidence is a problem everywhere in society, but nowhere more than in any kind of artistic or creative pursuit. Because to be successful creatively is to be very honest with yourself. Successful creative people who are actually good at being creative, are brutally honest with themselves and painfully aware of their own shortcomings. That's what it takes to be great. Right? And if they put something out into the world creatively and people don't like it, their reaction is like, yeah, okay, I can see why you didn't like it. Because, you noticed that and that and that problem? Yeah, yep. Yeah, I know it. You're right. I can tell you that as someone who has written 4 books, made 2 movies, a TV show, a daily podcast, nobody could ever be more critical of my stuff than I am. I intensely scrutinize everything I do. I rip it all to shreds. Anyone who's worked with me creatively on anything, especially a long form project, knows this. I'm never satisfied with any of it. There are a million things I always want to change and fix. Now, this attitude may not be the most emotionally or psychologically healthy. It is not a recipe for ignorant bliss or happiness in general, but you do have to engage in a degree, I think a rather large degree, of self-criticism if you ever want to create anything or do anything worthwhile. Now, the flip side is that Raygun, before appearing on the Olympics, was probably very happy. I mean, think about it. In her mind, she was a gifted scholar, a brilliant academic, a great teacher, and an incredible dancer. So she had it all. She had athleticism, creativity, intelligence. She was the perfect package. And she believed that about herself. Imagine how happy a person would be if they lived in a fantasy world where they're good at everything. It's enough that you might even be tempted to recommend a life of flattering delusion because it can make you so happy. But the problem is that eventually the real world will come crashing through and break up that wall of self-deception. Reality always asserts itself in the end. Reality always wins. Always. every time for everyone, one way or another. And when it does, if you've been as deluded as Dr. Raygun, your introduction to reality will be painful and terrible and likely very humiliating. Better to avoid that by living in reality all along. Better to help our loved ones avoid that by being honest with them. If only someone had done Dr. Raygun that favor. But they didn't. And that is why all the people around her, the people who could have told her that she sucks but didn't because they didn't want to hurt her feelings, they are the ones who are today canceled. That'll do it for the show today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Talk to you on Monday. Have a great day. Godspeed.
Republicans are Nazis. You cannot separate yourselves from the bad white people.
Growing up, I never thought much about race. It never really seemed to matter that much, at least not to me. Am I racist?
I would really appreciate it if you
I'm
left.
trying to learn. I'm on this journey.
If I'm gonna sort this out, I need to go deeper undercover.
They gon' say I'm racist.
Joining us now is Matt, certified DEI expert.
Here's my certification. And what you're doing is you're stretching out of your whiteness. This is more for you in this field.
Is America inherently racist?
The word inherent is challenging there.
I want to rename the George Washington Monument to the George Floyd Monument.
America is racist to its bones.
So inherently.
Yeah, this country is a piece of
White
folks,
White.
trash,
White supremacy.
white woman, white boy.
Is there a black person around here? This black person right here, does he not
They gon'
exist?
say I'm racist.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Matt.
Just had to ask who you are because you have to be careful.
Never be too careful.
They gon' say you racist.
Buy your tickets now. In theaters September 13th. Rated PG-13.